Orcust is one of the coolest and most fun Yu-Gi-Oh decks ever made, and this year they're getting 2 new cards that are going to completely change how the deck is played. So in this video we're going to go through those new cards, we're going to go through all the old cards as well to make sure you remember, and then we're going to go over how to play them in combos, and I'm going to show you 6 combos that you have to know to play the new Orcust strategy after the Link 1 and the new Link 4 come out. We're getting Galateo I, the Orcust Automaton, which is a Link 1, which basically makes all of your Orcust cards starter cards. And then we're getting a Link 4, or Link Girsu, the Orcust Mech Knight, which is going to be a new end board piece for the deck. So I'm going to break this video down into 2 parts. In part 1, we're going to go over every card you need to know to play Orcust. We're just going to go through them together, kind of get you a feel of how these cards actually interact and how they're meant to be played. And in the second part, we're going to go over the 6 combos that you need to know to play this deck effectively. If you already know all of the cards, you can skip on to the combos. I'll put a timestamp in the description. But if you're here for the whole thing, let's go ahead and jump in. We're going to learn Orcust from scratch. All the cards you need to know to play the deck after the new cards come out, which is going to include some cards that you weren't playing before. So if you are reliant on what you already know about the current Orcust, you're going to need to know a few more cards as well, because the new cards really open up some slots that bring in additional support that is already released. Okay, so with that being said, let's go ahead and hop into the cards here that I have laid out. Okay, so I have all of the cards that you're going to need to know laid out right here on the playmat. We have all the main deck monsters here, of which there are 7. We have all the spell and trap supporting cards, which are 4. And then we have all of the extra deck cards that are going to be pretty staple after our new cards come out. And that includes the new Link 1 that's not out yet, and the new Link 4 that's not out yet at the time of this video, but hopefully we can use this video when these cards are actually announced, and everything should still be applicable at that time. Okay, so we're going to go through and walk through each of these cards and try to talk through how they interact so you can learn how to play the deck yourself. And we're going to start with the main deck pieces here, which are going to be these 7 cards. Okay, so these 7 cards essentially are cards that facilitate stuff that the Orcust deck does, and the Orcust deck wants to send all of their cards to the graveyard and then banish them from the graveyard to activate their effects. We're going to start with Girsu and Orcust Nightmare. These are the 2 in-engine ways to get cards from the deck to the graveyard. Girsu will send one from the deck to the graveyard on summon, and Orcust Nightmare, if it's already in your graveyard, can banish itself from the graveyard to send any dark machine from deck to grave. So these are the 2 ways to get stuff into the graveyard in engine. Then we have these 4 cards, which are Orcust Harp Horror, Orcust Cymbal Skeleton, World Legacy World Wand, and Orcust Brass Bombard. These 4 cards, they can banish themselves from the graveyard to special summon an Orcust from somewhere. Harp Horror will summon one from deck, Cymbal will summon one from the graveyard, World Wand will summon one from the banish zone, and Brass Bombard will summon one from the hand. Okay? Typically, I think going forward, Brass Bombard is not going to be played very much. We don't really need to be summoning anything from our hand. So we are going to focus on Harp Horror, Cymbal Skeleton, and World Wand going forward. But I do want you to know that Brass Bombard does exist. We have one final main deck card that is now going to be played that wasn't played before. This is World Legacy World Crown. It's a level 6 Dark Machine monster that can special summon itself to a zone that your Link monster points to. Not only that, but it serves as an interruption as well. If your opponent activates the effect of a monster special summon from the extra deck, we contribute this card, send it to the graveyard, negate and destroy that effect. Negate the effect and destroy that monster. So that's a powerful interruption that is now more accessible because of one of the new cards. So we're definitely going to be wanting to play World Crown going forward. Let's move on to our main deck spell and trap cards here. Starting off with the star of the show, Orchestrated Babble. Your whole deck kind of revolves around having this card on the field. This is a field spell that says while it's active, all of your Orcust monsters and Orcust Link monster effects are treated as quick effects, so they can be activated at any time, including on your opponent's turn, which is very important because it turns all of our cool board breaking effects into actual interruptions because we can use them in response to our opponent's stuff on their turn. We also have this card, Orcust Crescendo. This is a counter trap card that can be activated if you control an Orcust Link monster, so that's definitely powerful. Then we have Orchestrated Return. This is a discard one Orcust or World Legacy monster and draw 2 cards, so it's a way to get those Orcusts from your hand into the graveyard where they're typically more useful. And then our last card here is going to be World Legacy Succession. This card is now relevant in the Orcust deck because we can make a monster in the extra deck that will be able to search us this card. This one says special summon a monster from your graveyard to a zone that a link monster points to. So it's just a searchable monster reborn, and it's going to be coming up in a lot of our combos, so make sure you know what this card does and what it is. Alright, that's going to cover our main deck stuff. Now let's cover our extra deck cards. Let's start with our Link 1, Galatea I, the Orcust Automaton. This card turns all of our cards in our hand, in the main deck, into 1 card starters, okay? This card on summon can discard a card to search either the Orcust field spell or a World Legacy monster. So we already went over all of our options for that. We have Orchestrated Babel as the field spell, and then we have World Legacy World Crown and World Legacy World Wand as our search targets. That's why World Crown is now an important piece, because it's basically a searchable extender by the Link 1. We can special World Crown to the zone that the Link 1 points to, and then we have access to a Link 2, and then we can go on from there. So it's a really nice piece that we're going to be including in our deck going forward. In addition to that, this card is an extender as well from the graveyard. It can banish another Orcust from the graveyard to summon itself back to the field, which is really nice for link climbing. Obviously, we can use this and something else to make a Link 2. We can banish that something else to bring this back, go into a Link 3, and so forth. So it's just more gas in the Orcust deck, which is really nice. Additionally, in the past, we had cards like Orcust Harp Horror and Orcust Cymbal Skeleton, which on their own in their hand don't really do anything. We need to get them to the grave somehow. But now we can simply normal summon something like Orcust Harp Horror, link it off for the Orcust Automaton, and then we're going to be able to banish the Harp Horror from our graveyard to summon a new Orcust from the deck. Before that wasn't possible. We would have to pair up one of these cards with something like Orchestrated Return or, Forbidden Droplets or something that would discard in order to be able to use these, but now we can just normal summon it, link it off for a Link 1, and we're off to the races. So that's how this card revolutionizes the deck. Previously, we had basically only Girsu as our starter, but now we have Cymbal Skeleton and Harp Horror as starters, and I'm going to go through all of the 1-card combos with each of these cards after we go through these cards in this video. Okay, our next card from the extra deck, we're going to move up to the Link 2 now, Galatea the Orcust Automaton. Galatea can return a Banished Machine monster to the deck to set 1 Orcust spell or trap card directly to the field. That's pretty nice in Tidrol and Lockbird because it doesn't search, and our primary targets are going to be the 3 we already looked at, between Orchestrated Babel, Orcust Crescendo, and Orchestrated Return, depending on what we have already and what we need. Now, in the past, before our Link 1, this would typically set Babel every time we don't have it. But now that the Link 1 can potentially search Babel for us, now we can set up Babel with the Link 1 and Crescendo with the Link 2 and have access to both on the same turn, which is absolutely incredible for the deck. That was one of the issues that we had, is we had to pick Babel or Crescendo. Now we can have both. Okay, so that's why the deck, another reason the deck is going to go places when these new cards come out. On to the next card, we have Girsu the Orcust Orchestrator. This one is going to be able to send a linked monster to the graveyard. It's basically an interruption on our opponent's turn, as long as we have the field spell. If they summon to a zone that Girsu points to, or potentially we can summon a Girsu to a zone that points to something useful, we can quick effect send that card to the grave, which is going to be kind of nice. This card isn't a really big combo piece, but it is important to keep in mind that it exists, and it has Orcust in its name, so it can work with a lot of your Orcust cards that you are already playing. On to the next one, we have the new Link 4, Enlil Girsu the Orcust Mech Knight. Okay, so this card says you can target one of your banished Orcust or World Legacy cards, add it to your hand. Then you can choose to return a card from your hand to the deck to take control of a monster your opponent controls. This is going to come up in our combos, both turn 1 and turn 2, because some of our combos are going to allow us to give our opponent a token, and then we can take that token back and then use it as link material, so that's pretty nice. Its second effect is during your main phase, if this card is in your graveyard because it was sent there from the extra monster zone this turn, you can banish it and then send one card on the field to the graveyard. So how do we do that? How do we set that up? Well, we're going to use our honorary Orcust card, which is IP Masquerena. IP is a staple card in every Orcust extra deck because all of these Orcust main deck guys, when we use their effect to banish from the graveyard to do something, they lock us into dark monsters for the rest of the turn. So that means our end board pieces are a little bit limited to darks, and that's okay because IP Masquerena is one of the best dark end board pieces in the game. So if we can set up this link 4 in the extra monster zone and IP Masquerena down here in the main monster zone, that means after we've spent our link 4, we can use IP Masquerena to link itself plus our Enil Girsu off into the graveyard, and that means this card will be sent from the extra monster zone to the graveyard, and that's yet another interruption on our opponent's turn if we can set this up. Alright, that covers our first 5 honorary Orcust extra deck monsters. Now let's talk about the last link monster I want to talk about, which is Lib, the World Key Blade Master. This card wasn't played in, or isn't played in the current iteration of Orcust decks before these new cards come out, but after these new cards come out, this card will be a staple. This card requires a World Legacy card in your graveyard in order to special summon it. Okay, and that means that we're going to have to set up either the World Wand or the World Crown in our graveyard. And that's now possible because both of those are searchable by our Galatea Eye, our Link 1, right? So there's a lot of combos where we can search the World Crown, special summon it under the Link 1, link these guys off for something else, and then we can get one more monster back to go into the Lib. Why do we want to go into the Lib? Well, that's because Lib has the effect where she can set a World Legacy spell or trap card directly to the field, okay? And that card can be activated this turn if you have a World Legacy card in our graveyard, or a World Legacy monster in our graveyard. But if we're summoning Lib, we already know we have one, okay? So that means we can set our World Legacy Succession, which is a monster reborn, set it to our field, and immediately activate it to summon something back. So it's a really nice link climbing tool. Plus, as a little cherry on top, Lib, when she's sent to the graveyard as link material, can non-target shuffle a card on the field back to the deck. So that's really strong as a going second piece. If we can combo, like add Lib into our combo line, we'll be able to board clear as well as build a board at the same time, which is super nice. Our last extra deck card that we're going to talk about is Girsu Orcust of the Evening Star. This card is a rank 8 Exceed monster, but luckily it has its effect where we can use any Orcust link monster as the material for this card. So we can just overlay this on top of Galatea, for example. However, we can't do that with the Link 1. The Link 1 does have text that says it cannot be used as Exceed material, so we're going to have to overlay it on Galatea, Long Girsu, or Enil Girsu to summon out the Ding. Ding, when it's summoned, has 2 effects. It can either send one card on the field to the graveyard, non-targeting, or it can attach one of your banished machine monsters to it as material. The second one is going to come up mostly when we're going first, because obviously, first of all, our opponent doesn't have cards when we're going first, and we're going to want to get material back from the banished zone into the graveyard. So we're going to attach it to Girsu and then link off the Girsu to put everything back into the grave so it's ready to go for next turn. So it's a really good recycler and it's a good board clear as well. That second effect, when we are sending a card from the field to the grave, is going to come up on our opponent's turn, preferably when we have the Orcust field spell on board, so that we can summon back the Girsu using something like Cymbal Skeleton, which is going to be a common theme in all of our combos, banish the Cymbal Skeleton, quick effect on our opponent's turn, summon back to Girsu. Girsu will activate to send a card from the field to the grave, which is a really powerful interruption. Okay, we have just a couple more cards that I want to go over that I don't have in front of me right here, so we're going to do it on the screen. The first one is going to be Abao Aku, the Lightless Shadow. I don't own a copy of this card yet, but it just came out in Supreme Darkness. This card requires 2+ monsters, including a fiend monster, to summon. During the main phase, quick effect, you can discard one card, then either destroy a card on the field or banish this card until the end phase, and if you do, special summon a light or dark monster from your graveyard. So we can either just use the effect to destroy a card, or we can use the effect to summon back something like Girsu for Girsu to send something to the graveyard, or we can use it as a combo piece to send this off till the end phase and then get a different piece out on the field to link off with instead. Another card is going to be Beat Cop from the Underworld. Remember, Abao Aku requires a fiend monster to summon. Well, all of our Orcust stuff is machine type. So at some point we're going to have to just link up into a fiend monster, and it has to be a dark fiend monster because all of our Orcust stuff locks us into darks. So Beat Cop, I think, is going to be the best link to Dark Fiend that's otherwise generic. So I do want you to be aware that this card is going to be up in the combos sometimes. And then we're also going to have a card like Barricade Board Blocker, which is going to be just a link to that has an effect to discard a card from your hand, which could come in handy if our hand is full of Orcust that we want to use and we want to discard them for something else. And this card is a dark monster as well, so we can use it mid-combo. Foolish Burial Goods as a 1-card combo starter. Foolish Burial Goods simply sends a spell or trap from your deck to the grave, and we're going to send Orcust Crescendo, which we can banish from the graveyard to add a Dark Machine monster from your deck or banish zone to your hand. So essentially, we can banish Crescendo to search for our starters like Girsu. However, we're going to be locked into dark monsters that whole turn from that point on, so that kind of limits some of the combo pieces we can get into, but we're going to check that out right here in the replays. As a sample deck list, I'm only going to give you this. Why is that? Well, it's because I don't know what is going to be paired with this deck when it comes out. I don't know when this deck will come out or what will be still legal on the ban list. Maybe you want to play Horus, maybe you want to play Fiendsmith, maybe you just want to play non-engine. I don't know, but this is the core that you're going to need if you're going to want to play this deck going forward. It's basically 3 of each of the good Orcust main deck monsters, 1 World Crown, 1 World Wand, the Babel, a return, at least 1, maybe you could play more returns, and then we have World Legacy Succession, Foolish Burial Goods, 1, 2, or 3, or however many you want, and then at least 1 Crescendo. I think just 1 is all you need, but you can play 2. I've seen a few lists play 2. In the extra deck, 2 of each of the Orcust monsters, basically 2 Girsu, 2 Galatea Link 2, 2 Galatea Link 1, and then just 1 of the Link 4 guy, and then 1 IP, SP, and Lib. In the side deck, I have a few options that you might want to pick up or might want to play. So we have Gizmek Orochi, which is it's a dark machine that we can send with Orcust Nightmare, which is a pretty solid card, but I don't think it's going to be played going forward, but you can pick it up. We have a second Crescendo, we have Abao Aku, we have Beat Cop. If you want to summon Abao Aku, we're going to need a Dark Link 2 Fiend. We have Barricade Board Blocker, which is an end board piece optionally in a few of our combos. And then we have the Topologic cards. These cards, if there's a monster summoned to a zone they point to, will get some sort of effect. Trisbana will clear all the back row, but it's only a Link 3. Cerberus will clear the whole board, but it's a Link 4. Like, you can consider playing these cards, picking them up. They're pretty dirt cheap, so they've been used with Orcust in the past. Maybe you want to pick up a copy of each just in case. So yeah, this is the core. Depends on when you're watching this video on what the rest of the deck looks like. Could be Fiendsmith, could be Bestials, could be Horus, I don't know. But yeah, pick these cards up at least if you want to play the deck, no matter when you're watching this video. Now let's jump into some of the combos. We're going to go through 6 combos in this video. We're going to go through the 4 basic 1-card starter combos, which are Girsu, Harp Horror, Cymbal Skeleton, and Foolish Burial Goods. And then we're going to do 2 longer combos featuring Girsu and Harp Horror as 1-card starters, but those 2 are going to go through Abao Aku, the Lightless Shadow, to see some of the cool stuff we can do using that new card. So let's go ahead and get started with the basic combo, starting with Girsu. Okay, our basic combo starting with Girsu is going to start off obviously with normal summon Girsu, activate effect to send Orcust Harp Horror from the deck to the grave. Now Girsu is going to activate its other effect. If you control no other monsters, we can summon a token to our field and to our opponent's field. Now we can link off that Girsu for the link 1. The link 1 is going to activate to discard a card to search either a World Legacy monster or the field spell, and we're going to search that field spell right now. And then we're going to proceed to banish the Orcust Harp Horror to summon out the Orcust Nightmare from our deck. From here we can link 2 into our Orcust Galatea, and then we can banish the Orcust Nightmare to send a machine from the deck to the grave, and we're going to send the Cymbal Skeleton. From here we can use that Galatea, we can put back that Nightmare right away, and then set the Orcust Crescendo from our deck, so we're already pretty well set up. We're going to use the Link 1's Graveyard effect to banish an Orcust to summon ourselves back out, and that's going to be banishing the Girsu. And then we're going to link 4 up into the Enil Girsu, the Orcust Mekk-Knight. From here we can use that Cymbal Skeleton to bring back the Galatea, and then we can overlay the Dingirsu on top of the Galatea, attach the Cymbal Skeleton again, so that when we link off that Dingirsu, the Cymbal Girsu Combo is in the graveyard for our opponent's turn. From here we're going to use that Enil Girsu, we're going to add back the Girsu from our banish to our hand, and then we can take control of that token. Now maybe you want to add back that Harp Horror because it might be a different form of follow-up that you prefer, but either way, add back one of your Orcusts, put back something else, take control of the token. And now we're going to go ahead and... Oh, that Imperm is supposed to go to the deck, not to the graveyard. Anyways, we're going to go ahead and link 2 now into our IP Masquerena. And now we've ended on the basic end board that we were looking for. We have, as interruptions, Orcust Crescendo. We have Enil Girsu to take control of our opponent's monster. We have an IP Masquerena afterwards to go into an SP Little Knight with the Enil Girsu, which will banish, and then the Enil Girsu will send, then the SP has another banish, and we have Cymbal Skeleton in the graveyard with Ding to summon out and send our opponent's monster. And all of that will leave us with cards on board. We've added back follow-up with the Girsu in our hand, and then we have 2 other cards that are otherwise unused. So that's a really solid starting end board for just a 1-card Girsu starter. The interruptions are layered, they're all in different places, and it's going to be a really nice combo to know. Alright, and now on to our second combo, which is the 1-card Harp Horror combo. From here we can normal summon Harp Horror, summon out the Galatea Eye by linking it off, and then using Galatea Eye to add something from our deck to our hand. In this one we're going to add Orchestrated Babble. Now we can banish that Harp Horror, summon out the Girsu, and then Girsu can go ahead and send the Orcust Nightmare from the deck to the graveyard. Then we can use that Orcust Nightmare right away, send down the Cymbal Skeleton, and now we're going to go ahead and link 2 into our Galatea. Galatea can put back that Orcust Nightmare to set up our Crescendo, so we're in a similar place as last time. And then we have our Cymbal Skeleton effect to bring back our Girsu. We can overlay the Ding Girsu on top of the Galatea, use its effect to attach that Cymbal Skeleton, and then link 2 those away for the IP Masquerena. And now we can use our Galatea Eye to summon ourselves back out here, and then end our turn. I know this one's a lot less kind of impactful, but that's because we missed out on those summoning the tokens with the Girsu, so those are 2 bodies that we missed out on. But here we actually have a pretty solid end board, even though it may not look like it. We have IP with Galatea Eye, we have the Orcust Crescendo here, and then we have the symbol for Dingirsu in the graveyard set up as well. So we have the Omni Negate, we have a link off for SP Little Knight, or up for the Erling Girsu as well, because if we summon back that Ding Girsu first to send, then we can use IP with all 3 monsters to go into the Enil Girsu, which is a steal of our opponent's monster in addition, plus that will add us follow-up. So that's just the 1-card Harp Horror. That's one variation. Another variation, we might not search the Orchestrated Babble with the Link 1. We might search for the World Legacy World Wand, which could get us into a little bit different end board. We might give up the Crescendo and get the Babble with the Galatea. But yeah, it's a pretty similar number of interruptions. All right, now moving on to our third one-card combo, which is going to be starting off with Orcust Cymbal Skeleton. This one's kind of weird. It was never a starter before, but now we can actually link climb into something relevant with just the Cymbal Skeleton. So let's go ahead and see what we can do. We're going to normal summon it. We're going to link it off for the link 1, as we always do. We're going to use that link 1, and this time we're going to search World Crown because we're going to need some kind of extension here. We're going to be able to special summon that World Crown, link 2 away for the Galatea, and now we can use that link 1's effect to banish the Cymbal Skeleton to summon herself back out. Now we can go ahead and overlay on top of the Galatea with the Girsu, reattach that Cymbal Skeleton, and then we can link 2 up into a Lib, the World Key Blade Master. Now note that we used our Galatea Eye banishing the Cymbal Skeleton. We did not banish the Cymbal Skeleton to summon back the Galatea Eye. The difference is, if we were to banish the Cymbal Skeleton for its own effect, we would be locked into darks. But because we used the link 1, we are not locked into darks, and therefore we can climb up into our Lib, the World Key Blade Master. We can use Lib, the World Key Blade Master, to set our World Legacy Succession, which we can activate this turn because we control a World Legacy monster in the graveyard. Now we're going to banish that Cymbal Skeleton, summon back the Galatea. Galatea is going to put back the Cymbal Skeleton to search for the Babel, or set it directly to your field rather. And now we can go ahead and link 4 up into our Enil Girsu. From here we can go ahead and activate our World Legacy Succession to bring back that World Wand, which remember is an interruption, by tributing it when our opponent uses an extra deck monster's effect. And then on our opponent's turn, we can summon our Galatea Eye by banishing something to make our Enil Girsu live. So Enil Girsu has to return a banished Orcust from your banished zone to your hand to use its effect. And we're going to be able to do that on our opponent's turn. We can go ahead and use that Galatea Eye, banish, for example, the regular Galatea, and then Enil Girsu can use that effect to be able to take. So we essentially have the take effect with Enil Girsu plus the World Crown plus 3 cards in hand. Before, Cymbal Skeleton just did nothing on its own, but now we have 2 nice interruptions with a little bit of follow-up in the graveyard, like summoning Galatea Eye, for example. That's not too bad. Okay, our fourth one-card combo is now Foolish Burial Goods as a starter. So we're going to go ahead and activate that to dump the Orcust Crescendo. We're going to banish the Crescendo now to search the Girsu into our hand. So now we have a normal summon starter. We can go ahead and normal summon Girsu, send that Harp Horror to the grave, and then use Girsu's other effect to summon ourselves and our opponent a token. We're going to go ahead and link now into our Galatea Eye, searching out our World Legacy World Crown, and now we can banish that Harp Horror to summon out the Orcust Nightmare from the deck. We can link 2 up into our Galatea, banish our Orcust Nightmare to send down that Cymbal Skeleton, and now use our Galatea to put back that Nightmare to get us our field spell. We can use the field spell here. Now we can banish the Girsu to summon out the Galatea Eye, and now we can special summon our World Crown, go up into a link 4 Enil Girsu, and now we can go ahead and use that Cymbal Skeleton, banishing itself, summoning back the Galatea, overlay the Girsu onto the Galatea to attach that Cymbal Skeleton, and now we're going to go ahead and use our Enil Girsu to add back the Crescendo from our banished zone to our hand. Enil Girsu can return any Orcust card, not just monsters, so we're going to be able to search back that counter trap card. That's why we didn't search the Babel with the link 1. We searched the World Crown. That's because we can get the Babel with the Galatea and then get the Crescendo with the link 4. So you don't actually have to play 2 Crescendos, you can just play the 1. From here, now that we've added back the Crescendo, you can optionally return a card from your hand to the deck to take control of that token if you just want to leave your opponent on nothing, or you can go ahead and leave the token there, just hold the Crescendo and all of your other cards, and that will turn your opponent off of stuff like Imperm or Lightning Storm or whatever else or Kashtira cards, whatever you might be worried about. Okay, but in this particular combo, I do put 1 back, take the token, and that's because I want to link 2 up into the Barricade Board blocker. And here we have to make the Barricade Board because we are locked into machine monsters. That's because of the Orcust Crescendo. This one locks you into machines. So we are not able to go up into the IP Masquerena because that is a Cyberse. Okay, so Barricade Board does come up here. We're not going to use its discard effect, but we are just going to leave it on the board to protect our Babble. It's just something to do with those two monsters. You don't have to link them off for anything. You can just leave them if you want. But we do want to get that Dingirsu Cymbal Skeleton into the graveyard somehow. So it's better off just to do that. Leave the World Crown as an interruption as well. And now we have Enel Girsu as an interruption, World Crown as an interruption. We're going to set our crescendo, and we're going to go ahead and have that Dingirsu as an interruption as well. Not too shabby for Foolish Burial Goods. Okay, combo number 5 is going to be another one-card Girsu combo, but this time we're going to use Abao Aku in our extra deck to go into some really cool plays. So we're going to start with our normal summon Girsu, dump Harp Horror. We're going to use our other effect to summon the 2 tokens, and then we're going to link off into our Galatea Eye. It's going to start off a lot like our other one-card Girsu combo. Galatea Eye this time is going to search out our World Crown. We're just going to need the extra bodies to be able to get up into Abao Aku. From here, we're going to go ahead, summon out that World Crown, link 2 into our Beat Cop. We need to go into the Beat Cop, if you remember, because we need Fiend Link material to make the Abao Aku. So we're going to go up into the Beat Cop. We're going to link 2 now into the Lib. And then because we have our World Crown in the graveyard, we can go ahead and set a succession and activate it this turn. From here, we're going to use our Harp Horror to lock us into Darks now. We're going to summon out the Orcust Nightmare, and now we can go ahead and use our Galatea Eye, banishing that Girsu to get that body on board. We're going to link 2 here into our Galatea. We can use our Galatea now, put back our Harp Horror to set the Babble to our field and activate it. And then we can link 4 into our Enel Girsu. Enel Girsu is going to be nice to have in the extra monster zone because of its bonus effect that if it leaves the extra monster zone, we can send a card. We're going to use that Enel Girsu to add back that Girsu, put 1 card back, and then take control of that token. And now we're going to use that World Legacy Succession to summon out the Beat Cop. We do need that Fiend Link material for the Abao Aku. We can use that Orcust Nightmare to just dump that Cymbal Skeleton. Cymbal Skeleton will summon back the Galatea, and now we can link 4 up into the Abao Aku. Okay, so we're going to have that on our end board, for the rest of the game, essentially, because she can always banish herself. We're going to use her effect to discard a card, and then we're going to banish the Abao Aku till the end phase to summon back that Galatea. Galatea is going to go up into the Dingirsu. Dingirsu is going to attach that Cymbal Skeleton, and then we're going to link off for the IP Masquerena. Okay, so that is going to be basically our end board. We're going to be able to, or the Abao Aku will come back at the end phase, which I didn't show in this replay, but we're going to have the IP, Enel Girsu, Abao Aku on the field. We're going to have the Dingirsu in the graveyard as well. So we're going to have a whole bunch of interruptions and interactions available to us going into the board. Now, is it worth it to go up into Abao Aku instead of having maybe an extra card in hand and otherwise the same end board? I don't know, but hey, it's cool and I just want you guys to see it. Let's do one more replay that uses Abao Aku for a really cool reason, better than this Girsu combo. Alright, this one is my favorite combo that I came up with because it uses the fact that Abao Aku removes herself from the field to our advantage. So it's a 1-card Harp Horror combo. We're going to normal summon the Harp, link off into the link 1, discard to search the World Wand, which is an interesting combo. I haven't seen anyone search this card on purpose before in a 1-card combo. We're going to banish that Harp Horror, summon back the Girsu. We're going to use the Girsu to sending that Nightmare, and then we're going to use the Nightmare right away to send the Cymbal Skeleton. We're going to go ahead and link 2 up into the Galatea, use Galatea to put back the Nightmare and grab our Orchestrated Babble, set it to our field, and then we can just activate it now. We're going to use our Galatea Eye, banishing that Cymbal Skeleton, and now we're going to overlay onto the Dingirsu, getting the Cymbal Skeleton back, and then we're going to link 2 up into our Beat Cop. We need the Beat Cop because it's a Fiend to go into the Abao Aku. We're going to banish our Cymbal Skeleton here to go ahead and summon back our Galatea, and that will give us our link 4 of material. We're going to use our Abao Aku. We're going to discard that World Wand. That's why we searched it earlier, because we want to discard it. And now we're going to summon back our Girsu. Guess what? We have no other monsters on board. Now we can use the token effect of Girsu, which is super cool. We're going to first use our World Wand before we link off, apparently. We're going to summon back our Cymbal Skeleton because we want to get that Cymbal Skeleton back to the graveyard for the Dingirsu interruption later. We're going to go ahead and link off that Cymbal. and the token into our IP Masquerena and pass turn there, bringing back our Abawaku. So that's going to be our end board, and our interruptions are Cymbal for Dingirsu in the graveyard. We have Abawaku discard to do something, either summon something back or destroy a card on the field. And then we're going to have special summon our Galatea Eye available here by banishing any of our Orcust monsters. And then we can use that IP to go up into either SP or the Enel Girsu using the Galatea Eye, Girsu, and IP. So we have a nice big board. So that is going to wrap up our Orcust video. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Please let me know what you think in the comments below, or if you want to see any more Orcust content, and I'd be happy to do this. This is one of my favorite decks, and I will 100% be playing this deck when the new cards come out. I hope this was useful to you. Pass it on to your friends if it was. Leave a like, sub to the channel, and we'll catch you guys in the next one. We'll see you soon.